everyone. Happy Thursday to you out there. What's very interesting is that this week just zipped along like there was no time between last Thursday and this Thursday. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but time is moving very quickly again. Anyone who's in Ireland will know that we're preparing for a big storm here down in Cork and kind of on the west coast of Ireland. We've all got a red weather alert warning, which means that the schools and everything are closed tomorrow. So if you have difficulty contacting me over the course of tomorrow, it may mean like our electricity could be out. Now, over the last several times that we've had storm warnings, they've all been kind of false alarms, which is a good thing. But what it means is that we've gotten very blasé about the whole thing, assuming it's never going to be anything. So if we actually do get hit by a bad storm, we won't really know what hit us because of the fact that we just kind of work on the assumption that it's not really going to be that bad. However, what is actually nice is it's all pretty early in the morning. So the worst of it looks like it's done by 8 or 9 in the morning. So assuming electricity doesn't go out, we should be okay. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed because that would be really nice. However, the schools are closed with the results that people will be at home. So I'm probably going to be a little bit distracted tomorrow anyway to begin with. Now, you may have noticed, and we've posted up a little bit last week, that we were talking about the Celtic Knits Club. Celtic Knits Club is normally just opens once a year. We open it in November, running into December, just before Christmas for the following year, with the first of the instalments shipping in March, and then another one 2 months later, and a third instalment another 2 months later. It uses our Blosta yarn. So this one was one of the blankets I made last year. There's no blanket this year, but it's the same yarn with some lovely townhouse yarn hand dyed, which will be in the end installment as well. Now, when we placed the orders, when we put things in and the delivery started coming over the last week or so, and we realized there was some of the colors we had gotten actually a pretty decent amount extra of. And so we thought that just before we send things out, we open it up like for just one very short window for anyone who missed out before Christmas. Because I know particularly if you've got a lot of expenses running up to Christmas and things like that, it's not always a good time to make a big purchase for yourself, particularly if someone's not getting it as a gift for you. So what we did is last night it got opened up again, and there was a limited, it is quite limited, option 1 and option 2. The option 2 is gone now, and there's still a few more of option 1. But I'm guessing that it's not really going to last beyond this evening. So tomorrow we will be closing it off and getting ready to finalize things at that point. So if you're sitting and thinking about it, option 1 is got a few more hours, 24 hours at most, that it's going to be available. Just to let you know, in case that you're kind of sitting thinking about it. We, of course, also have another kickoff this week, next week, and that's going to be our Mystery Knitalong. This has been, it's been very popular even before we got started, and anyone who's actually doing the testing and sample knitting have been very excited about the shawl. So someone was asking, what is option 1? Option 1, the colours in it were Farraga, which we haven't had before in Blosta, and Leah with an extra colour that you won't know. So it's just, you'll see it when you click in, you can see the colours that are a different option 1. So there's 3 different colours, one for each of the different projects. And the final one, the Leah, is going to be combined with a second colour that'll be a surprise that's hand dyed. So that, yeah, it just relates to the different colour that you're doing. Also, there's within the Celtic Knits Club, there's different sizings as well. So you can opt for the wrap or one of the 3 sizes in the sweater if you'd prefer to do a sweater rather than a wrap. But yes, so back to our Mystery Knitalong. Next Thursday, the first clue is coming out, if I'm right, it's the 24th, and we're going to have we're going to be getting started. The videos will go up, and we're going to go do a little bit of hang on, because someone was saying, Christine, you're saying you just received an order and you used the 100 gift voucher that you won. Oh, excellent. I'm glad you were able to put it to good use. That's good to know. Yeah, with the clues going to come out, and hopefully next weekend, or we'll have just a very quick little live, or perhaps a Zoom but also on KnitHub, they've launched a new live feature that I may use for the mystery knit-along, because it's also got a recording option. So I'll take a look at that and see how it works. I know because it's new, there's still a few little teething problems, but we'll see how that goes. If you're interested in joining in on the mystery knit-along, I know that some of the colors were kind of slow coming in, but we've got almost everything in stock right now. This is probably proving one of the most popular. It's Cumulus Aubergine with the Fino Corsage. So this is in stock. There's lots of it in stock right now, and most places should get it, or you'll get it fairly quickly in the start. So if you're in Ireland and probably the US, you should comfortably get this in time to start, but some of the European countries are taking a little bit longer to get things shipped in. The other ones that we have in stock that I have here is, this one is the ultramarine with both the silver tea set or the porcelain. There's two options to put those together. And the other one over here is good old Blos Delight in Farraga. And this one is the Rust, Cumulus and Rust. So there are other color options as well, but these are probably the kind of proving to be the more popular ones that are moving out very quickly. Now, in terms of swatching, because of the fact that I didn't want to give away too much of the mystery, I don't have the stitch pattern up for swatching. What I do have is I'll give you the needle size and the gauge for the stockinette stitch, and I would suggest just to swatch in the stockinette stitch just to get a feel to see if you can get close to the gauge and a fabric that you like, and that should be enough to get you started. With the quilted section, then you're going to I think if I gave that out, it would be just too much of it. It would just spoil the surprise, basically. But other than that, I think I'm probably going to be forward planning. I'm still right now in the early stages of kind of dreaming and thinking about the upcoming spring knit-along. That's going to be a couple of months down the line. It'll be April usually that gets started, but I need to start now for the planning myself and actually start the design itself. So it's going to be it's Nua Sport is what I use, and it's a cardigan is usually what I'll do. And they're the only two criteria I give myself. It is nice to have just a few boundaries so that I've got a guideline to work within. But then from there, I'm just going to go and playing with stitch patterns. I think I've settled on a stitch pattern and more or less a construction type. It's going to be a little unusual, but not too unusual, and probably a looser silhouette as well for the summer. But yeah, give me a shout and let me know if there's anything. Yeah, just pop it up on the comments there if there's anything in particular you'd like to see, or design features that get you really excited. For me, I think that lighter weight, a little bit of lace of some sort, and just a looser gauge I like for the summer, so that it's more airy and you're not going to overheat as much in it, even if it's wools. So that's usually for summer and spring knits. I really find that important, is the best way to put it. But that's kind of it for us here. I think I'm very glad we've got nice big shutters so that we can actually pull those down. Elsa Louise, have I finished my Donegal chunky sweater? It's not finished because my tennis elbow started acting up, and working on chunky yarn makes it a little uncomfortable. So I had kind of decided to postpone the release of that until the spring, or not to the spring, until the autumn. So I'm just going to sit that aside for a little bit and finish it once the more immediate projects for the spring and for the early summer have been done. So I'll get back to that. Most of it's done, and about 3/4 of the pattern's written, but I do need to spend another week knitting on it really to finish off the sleeve and the collar, because I find that oddly enough, with heavier weight yarns, they should be faster to knit, but because I have to go slower because it's more of a strain on my elbow, which is prone to hyperextension, it means that I have to go more slowly. Other yarns I have no problem with, but with chunky yarns I have to really take it in small batches to work with it, so I shouldn't really work for longer than a half hour at a time with it, and not necessarily even every night. So it kind of defeats the purpose of knitting faster. I know not everyone is prone to that. In fact, right now I've got the same problem with my knee, My exercise class on Saturday, normally have no problem. Managed to do something really silly. I hyperextended my knee and now the swelling's almost gone down. But basically most of my injuries tend to be because my joints are hypermobile and it's very easy for me to overdo the ligaments. And so it's elbows and knees are the ones that get me. Usually I've gotten very good at minding them, but if I'm kind of in the swing of something, in the case of a class, and I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And it wasn't fine, so that's my own fault. Same with knitting, too much heavier weight yarn and gives too much resistance to my elbow and it'll start giving out to me after a while. I can knit fine weight yarns or medium weight yarns forever with no reaction. So it is useful to know what ones knit more easily for you than others. So, does anyone else have any questions for me on anything in general, whether it's the club or the Knitalong coming up or anything like that? Do make sure if you're joining in the Mystery Knitalong to hop into our Knit Hub, because there's some really nice discussions going on there with where people are kind of asking questions about the yarn colors and combinations they're doing, and just kind of getting excited about it basically for the whole thing to start. Monica, you've issues with linen. It's the same thing, it's the inelasticity, and so it can really start, it just gives too much resistance. And so it's not that you can't knit with them, it means that you do need to limit the amount of time you spend knitting them, because otherwise you will end up with just sore joints basically, and you need to leave them rest and recover, and then it's okay again. But you do start recognizing the signs very quickly, where you'll just get a little dull ache, and sometimes, you know, a stretch out like this, pull your arm out and stretch it back, or circle your wrists, or, you know, just basically stop it from being in one position. But if after doing that a couple of times with breaks it's not working, it's likely that the project you're working on could be aggravating it, or the tension you're using, or the way you're holding your needles. So you can change all of these things. For me, I have discovered the trigger is yarn weights, and if I ignore it, it gets worse. If I let it rest, it's fine within 24 hours. Elsa, when I cast on using both ends of my ball, the end you cut, how long? Oh, I'll usually leave maybe 5-6 inches, enough to be able to weave it in comfortably, because that's the only reason you need to leave a little bit on the other end, just enough for weaving in. You should actually all keep, I want to say a big thank you. You got Zero to Knit course Christmas 2020. You did the course in January 21 and you ended up going part-time in your main job. And now you work part-time in a yarn shop in London. Oh, that's wonderful. That's really, really nice to know. Absolutely excellent. Thank you for letting me know. What am I wearing over my turtleneck? It looks so cozy. This one is my cozy puzzle. I'll turn around here. It is a huge, it's almost like a big wrap or a hug is the way I think of it. So I keep it in the office, and it means that even if I'm wearing something bulky, I can put this on, and it's warm the way putting on like a shawl or something like that is, but it doesn't fall off because it's got sleeves, but it's nice and loose, but you can have a very, very big item underneath, but you can still put it on. It's not terribly thick. It's like a sports weight, 4-ply weight, but it's I get a lot of use out of it in the office. It's a really good office extra layer to have, and I do find it more useful for me personally than shawls, where if I don't have a pin they're always coming off, whereas this just stays on. So it's very well behaved. So that is my Thursday today, and I'm going to go and check that everything is turned off if our electricity goes, and tuck in all of our rubbish bins and the barbecue. So I'll see you all next week, and I can get started with the Mystery Knitalong. And keep an eye out on Knit Hub if you are joining in, because I'm going to go and I will post something up about the live, and we'll just a little launch party the weekend after it goes out. Lana, what's the pattern? It is Cozy Puzzle is the name of this pattern. Anyway, bye. Thanks for joining me.